Columbia out of communications at present with Mission Control.
A devastating scene in the skies. The Space Shuttle Columbia explodes, killing all 7 astronauts on board. Debris is thrown over a 100-mile area.
The shuttle was en route to its scheduled landing at the Kennedy Space Center in Florida.
Now from News 10 NBC, Space Shuttle Columbia, tragedy in the sky.
Good evening, I'm Janet Lomax.
I'm Gabe Dalmath. Many of us thought this would never happen again. All of us hoped it wouldn't. But just days after the 16th anniversary of the Challenger disaster, another space shuttle explodes.
The NASA space program is halted, and America is once again overcome with grief.
7 astronauts on board the shuttle are dead. One of the astronauts is a native of New York State. He is Michael Anderson from Plattsburgh. Anderson, an Air Force lieutenant colonel, was the payload commander on Columbia. This is the Plattsburgh native's 2nd time in space. The first was on Endeavour in 1990. His family, as you can imagine, is still in shock. His sister talked about her brother this afternoon.
It was exciting to our family. It's the 2nd time he's been up. That's what he's dreamed of doing most of his life. That's what he set his goals to do. That's what he sacrificed to do, and that is what he did.
Anderson's sister also went on to say that only in America could he have achieved what he did. Anderson was 43 years of age.
And now the search is on for a reason, and that's what investigators from NASA and the Federal Emergency Management Agency are doing right now. The shuttle, as seen in this 3D animation, disintegrated over Texas. Debris is strewn over a 100-mile area. Columbia was heading for a landing at Kennedy Space Center in Florida. NASA lost contact with the shuttle at about 9 o'clock this morning, 16 minutes before it was scheduled to touch down. At the time, Columbia was 203,000 feet over the Earth, traveling at 12,500 miles an hour. NASA says it is not sure yet what impact this accident will have on future missions. Astronaut Eileen Collins, who's from Elmira, is scheduled to go up March 1st. And with more on what Collins had to deal with today, Ray Lovato has a report.
In 1995, Eileen Collins becomes the first woman to pilot a space shuttle. That year, Eileen Collins' parents accepted a bronze medal on their daughter's induction into the National Women's Hall of Fame.
Be seated and welcome to the White House and the Roosevelt Room.
3 years later, 41-year-old Lieutenant Colonel Collins was at the White House, named the first woman commander of a space shuttle mission.
Since I was a child, I've dreamed about space. I've admired pilots, astronauts, and I've admired explorers of all kinds.
Collins did not talk about the inherent dangers involved in space flight. She was more concerned that she'd do it right, as she put it, so the women who followed her would have an easier time of it.
I really wish that it would have happened before now. I think it's long overdue. Some women should have come in here and done this before me.
Collins said that many people tried to discourage her. She even failed her first eye test to become an Air Force pilot. But after years of training and success, she was chosen to be an astronaut. Ironically, she became the first female space shuttle commander aboard the Columbia.
0. We have booster ignition and liftoff of...
Role model, yes, but Eileen Collins is also a wife and mother.
It's a matter of time in getting the women who are qualified to do the job, and now these opportunities are open to women, and I encourage young women to look into these fields.
Collins also reflected on what it meant to her personally.
I thought back about all those years I was in high school and college and working on advanced degrees and how hard it was. I feel like it's all paying off right now.
Eileen Collins talked with her father, James Collins, by phone today from Houston. He lives here in Rochester. She called him and her mother in Elmira to tell them that she was all right, but very upset about what happened. And coming up in just a few minutes, thoughts tonight about another local astronaut, Pam Melroy.
Also later on tonight at 11, we'll have reaction to this tragedy from the local Jewish community. This was the first space flight for an Israeli, and the loss of astronaut Ilian Ramon brings an extra sense of disappointment and grief. We contacted a number of people today, but to honor the Sabbath, they wanted to hold off on their remarks until after sundown. The U.S. government has launched an investigation, of course. The FBI says it is unlikely that this might have been a terrorist attack or that sabotage was somehow involved, but NASA says that it's too early to speculate on the exact cause. With us in the newsroom right now is Captain Eric Lamfer, Captain, you've recently been assigned to the 401st Civil Affairs Unit in Webster, but your expertise is in air defense. You came from Fort Drum. Is it true? I mean, it is really impossible to shoot something like this down from the ground, surface-to-air missile, correct?
That is correct. It is impossible for the speed and the altitude that the shuttle actually came down for that to happen.
We are talking about 200,000 feet up in the sky. It was 38 miles or so. And most of the ordnance that you deal with, certainly missiles that are in the atmosphere, certainly nothing that would go into space, correct?
That is correct. Everything that we would deal with are surface-to-air missiles that the range is technically 4 to 6 kilometers.
And things like SDI, of course, have still not been developed, but those are the only kinds of things that would, in any way, shape, or form, pose a hazard to anything like a space shuttle flight, correct?
That is correct.
All right, and someone in the armed services like yourself, give us your immediate reaction and your thoughts about what happened today.
I'm shocked that such a tragedy would happen to the great group of astronauts that did go up.
All right, Captain Eric Lamfer, we appreciate you being with us today.
Well, this is one of those times when you'll probably always remember where you were when you heard this terrible news. Today, we caught up with people at the World Gym on East Avenue watching TV coverage of the disaster.
I saw the Challenger going by up there, and all of a sudden, about 6 or 7 seconds later, the debris, it just exploded before us, and all the debris came down. And it brought back a lot of those terrible memories.
It's very tragic. What is it, 7 people are lost, and they all had families. Very tragic. My first reaction is terrorism. Although they're coming in, it's much more unlikely than if they were blasting off. But with an Israeli astronaut, you can't help but wonder that. I think if anything happens nowadays, that's our first reaction.
Eventually, I felt that something was going to happen eventually, and it did. And it's too bad.
The government weather satellites captured the explosion today of the Space Shuttle Columbia. We want you to look near the top of your screen. You can see the large streak of red over Tyler, Texas. The shuttle broke apart in flames en route to its scheduled landing at Kennedy Space Center in Florida, again killing all 7 astronauts on board. Normally, it is the weather that poses a problem for NASA when a shuttle is ready to land.
Of course, we can't talk about bad weather. Somehow we all wish that we could be talking about bad weather for a shuttle landing or a takeoff, but that's not to blame today. It was beautiful. Skies were clear in Texas.
Josh Nichols joins us now in the News 10 NBC Weather Lab with a check on our local forecast. Josh?
All right, thanks so much, Janet. We do have some precipitation on the 10 NBC Weather Lab triple Doppler. It was mainly a mix of rain and snow today. 34 degrees outside right now. Let's show you the satellite radar review over the past 12 hours, and you'll be able to see that rain combination, wet snow, courtesy of the fact that we do have a coastal storm offshore, really going to be developing quite quickly. Also a trough of low pressure moving in from the west. That's beginning to change the rain that we had downtown to some wet snow. 36 was the high today, 33 the low, 0.17 of an inch of rain recorded at the airport. 33 degrees right now with that precipitation beginning to change over to some wet snow. We have a saturated air mass. There's some fog shrouding the hilltop, so beware of that. Here's our storm beginning to blow up off the east coast, and that is going to bring some snow even to coastal New England. And we're also watching a disturbance back off to the west that will enhance some of that moisture. So the weather map graphically portrays that storm moving away. It's going to turn quite windy, quite a distance to our east. But for us, as we go into the day tomorrow, lots of clouds, some morning flurries. And then as we go into Monday, we'll watch our next system coming in. This is going to bring some rain as we go into the first part of Monday, but then some sharply colder air comes in on its backside. So for tonight, it's gray and damp with patchy fog, spotty light rain and wet snow. And look out for some slick spots as the temperature drops just below freezing. For tomorrow, some renegade flurries in the morning. Plenty of clouds for the afternoon, the high temperature 34 to 37. 5-day forecast shows temps into the mid-30s on Monday with a mix of snow and rain. And the rain comes in Tuesday, changes to snow later in the afternoon. Temperatures will fall off from an early high of 40 quickly through the 30s. And as we go into Wednesday and Thursday, we are back into more Arctic air and possibly some lake effect snow.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Well, shock, frustration, sadness, that's what many of us are feeling right now.
The family of a local astronaut is also trying to cope. Pamela Melroy was in Rochester just a few days ago, and I spoke with her dad this morning. That's coming up.
News 10 NBC is brought to you by York Furniture Gallery. Prices are now being slashed during York Furniture Gallery's clearance sale. Floor samples, one of a kind, discontinued and specially selected items throughout York's entire furniture inventory. Hurry in for best selection now through Sunday only. Living rooms, dining rooms, bedrooms, entertainment centers, home office, leather furniture, and much more, all at clearance sale prices. Special financing available during this incredible savings event. Hurry in now through Sunday only. York Furniture Gallery.
I'm Rory Fitzpatrick from the Rochester Amherst. The one you love is back. The Monterey Ranch Chicken Sandwich at Wendy's. Wendy's, it's better here.
Shop Clover's biggest and best warehouse clearance sale. For huge savings on hundreds of overstock, scratch and dent, and one-of-a-kind pool tables, bars, bar stools, and more. Over 300 pool tables are priced from $7.88 and no more than $15.99. Over 200 Viking, Hot Springs, and Cal Spas to sell. 10 models are priced from $13.88 and no more than $39.99. 5 big spas are priced under $29.99. Hundreds of bars, plus bar and counter stools are clearance priced too. Get a beautiful wood bar for just $2.88. Bar stools from $14. Only at Clover.
What's better than chocolate for Valentine's Day? The Chocolate and Wine Weekend, February 8th and 9th along the Seneca Lake Wine Trail. Sample chocolates or foods made with chocolate creatively matched with each winery's wines. Over 20 wineries will be tempting your palate. Receive a special commemorative wine glass and a wine glass jar. Tickets are on sale now at $18 per person, good for both February 8th and 9th. Make a date with your sweetie for the Seneca Lake Wine Trail's Chocolate and Wine Weekend. For tickets, call 877-536-2717 and Uncork, New York.
Gemlinks International Diamond Brokers are selling certified diamonds at or below wholesale prices. As part of this special promotion offered to the public, you can now save over 50% off standard retail store prices. Along with your special diamond purchase, your diamond comes with an official certification and limited lifetime warranty. Gemlinks International has over 20 years experience and are located right in the Bausch & Lomb World Headquarters building. Call David Turner today for a free quote on any size or shape diamond. 546-1670.
You're watching News 10 NBC and continuing coverage of Space Shuttle Columbia, tragedy in the sky.
Astronaut Pam Melroy, who's a Pittsford native, is based in Texas. It's likely that she'd been assigned to Cape Canaveral to help with the return of Columbia. Her family tells us that she would not be allowed to comment on this tragedy, even if she wanted to. It's safe to say that she is devastated. A few days ago, she was here in Rochester, all smiles, encouraging young people like her to be part of the space program. But she also reminded us how this involves a dangerous learning process.
I was trained by somebody who was there present on the day of Apollo 1 when they couldn't get the astronauts out of the module. Everything that we do is influenced by the lessons that we learned and the mistakes that were made that we changed.
This was on Tuesday when Melroy came back to her hometown, spoke at Nazareth College. She brought back a banner that she took out with her aboard the Shuttle Atlantis last October. Lieutenant Colonel Melroy was the pilot of that mission, obviously quite proud of her accomplishment and looking for more teachers to go into space. She said that she wants young teachers to, quote, spread the seeds of knowledge regarding math and science for the sake of our nation's future.
We think teachers are really special when we love talking to kids, but for every teacher you talk to, you touch thousands of children. So we think bringing them into our community and having them live the experience of space and being an astronaut will be able to go out and seed our academic communities.
She was here on the sad anniversary of the last shuttle disaster. It was on January 28th of 1986 that Challenger blew up. She talked about that and about the aftermath of an earlier tragedy with one of the Apollo missions.
The best thing that we can do is to go on and continue what these people gave their lives to do and that they believed in so strongly. And so for us, it's an honor to carry the fire one step forward for them and in their memory. And so we cherish and honor their memory and hope that we can live up to them.
Pam Melroy's parents, who still live in Pittsford, did not want to go on camera today, but I spoke with David Melroy, her dad. He told me, quote, "We appreciate the calls coming into us all morning long. We ask the community to pray for the families of the Columbia crew. Otherwise, until we have an understanding of what took place, there's nothing else we can say except, again, to thank everyone in the community for their thoughts and ask again for their prayers for the families of those aboard Columbia."
And he told me that Pam was looking forward to her next mission, but didn't know when that would be. Of course, now all the schedules have been put aside.
You know, what's happened today is difficult for adults to deal with, and it's especially hard for children to understand.
It certainly is, and coming up, we'll tell you where many local parents brought their kids today, a place with a history of teaching about space tragedy and triumph.
News 10 NBC is brought to you by Ruby Gordon Furniture, locally owned and operated since 1936.
1, 2. That's it. 2 days to take advantage of Ruby Gordon Furniture's Super Saturday, Super Sunday sale. The reductions are so great, we can only leave them on the floor for these 2 days. If you know value and can appreciate Rochester's largest furniture selection, then you're going to love Ruby Gordon Furniture this weekend. Buy now with no interest and no payment until 2004 at Ruby Gordon Furniture on West Henrietta Road. Sale must end Sunday at 5 p.m. Ruby Gordon and you, the making of a beautiful home.
This is the latest edition of the Accord. Totally redesigned from the ground up, offering a new level of refinement in style, comfort, power, and safety. Attributes Honda has always been known for. But don't let your eyes deceive you. After all, affordability is also our heritage. The all-new Accord from Honda.
2 all-beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun. 2 all-beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun.
Big Mac is $35 and we're celebrating. Right now, buy 1 Big Mac and get a second Big Mac for just 35 cents.
Go, Big Mac. It's your birthday.
It's a big McDonald's party and everybody's into it.
2 all-beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun.
Buy 1 Big Mac, get a second for just 35 cents. Come on, party with the Big Mac.
Hi, I'm Keith Hernandez. And I'm Walt Clyde Frazier. What a marvelous night for the action. Let's go to the play-by-play. Oh, there's Mr. Graybeard approaching Miss Hottie. Oh, no. Rejected. Clyde, that's gotta hurt. Yeah, no play for Mr. Gray. Get that man our Just for Men Brush-In Color Gel. It's specially formulated to penetrate coarse facial hair and gets rid of gray in 5 easy minutes. Gets rid of strikeouts, too. Just for Men Gel. The Rejuvenator.
You're watching News 10 NBC and continuing coverage of Space Shuttle Columbia, tragedy in the sky.
There's a part of the Strassenberg Planetarium at the Rochester Museum and Science Center that's dedicated to the Challenger tragedy. It was in what's called the Challenger Center that the planetarium's director told our Jennifer Johnson the center was recording this morning's events. Will they ever show this video to children? As Jennifer reports, history helped them make a decision.
And it was clear that something was very different about this.
Steve Ventures was in charge of recording Columbia's landing for the planetarium. Meantime, families with young children were arriving, getting ready for one of the planetarium's star shows. Steve says they decided very quickly not to give too much information about the breaking news.
It was not our business to supply upsetting speculation to young children.
They do, however, teach kids about the Challenger tragedy. It happens in this room called the Challenger Center. Steve says kids learn why the center is there and who the astronauts were, but they do not show the 1986 explosion video. They do not plan to show today's tragedy either.
There isn't a real value in showing something that's that emotionally provocative.
But for anyone with a television, the news was hard to ignore. The story came across TV just as kids were tuning in to watch cartoons. We asked some parents how they explain the news. Penny Orlando says she thought it best to come here to the museum.
We knew that they had the linkage into the NASA space program, and we thought that it would be kind of interesting to come and see exactly what was going on behind the scenes at NASA rather than just listening to the news reports.
Penny has 4 boys, ages 6 to 12. She says the 2 younger ones don't really understand what happened this morning, but since her older boys have flown on an airplane, she says it makes more sense to them. Her oldest son says space still interests him.
It would be pretty neat to go in space, but it would be kind of scary if the spaceship just broke.
Jennifer Johnson, News 10 NBC.
We'll have more on today's catastrophe coming up.
But just ahead, Mark Gruba has the latest in sports.
Pizza's new stuffed crust gold. The pizza with a ring of cheese baked inside the crust now has zesty cheddar cheese around the outer rim for a toasted crunch. Get a stuffed crust pizza for $9.99 or go for the gold for $1 more. Stuffed crust gold, new at Pizza Hut.
Attention, Rochester furniture shoppers! It's been years in the planning, and it's finally here. The grand opening of Raymore & Flanigan Furniture's massive Henrietta Superstore. To celebrate, absolutely everything's on sale at all 5 Rochester area locations. Now every piece of furniture has been reduced at all 5 Raymore & Flanigan Rochester area showrooms, with no deposit, interest, or payments for 1 full year, plus delivery in 3 days or less. Everything's on sale now during Raymore & Flanigan Furniture's grand opening in Henrietta. Going on now.
You can hear News 10 NBC on the radio every day on WYSL News 1040. These broadcasts are made possible by Genesee Ford Truck.
If you're thinking about a new in-ground pool, now's the time to buy. It's Sunbeam Pools & Spa's 36th anniversary sale. Take advantage of special purchases on beautiful kidney-shaped pools starting at just $14,900 installed. Shop in comfort in our huge 6,000 square foot showroom, including a full-size in-ground pool on display. See for yourself why Sunbeam is Rochester's most experienced pool builder. Plus, take advantage of the lowest finance rates in years and reward your family with a lifetime of backyard enjoyment. Sunbeam Pools & Spas, Route 31 Fairport.
When I wear black, even a little dandruff shows, and my old dandruff shampoo just wasn't cutting it. So I switched to Selsun Blue Moisturizing Shampoo. Doctor recommended for flakes and itch, with aloe and moisturizers for healthier hair and scalp. Never wear black without the blue. Selsun Blue.
Here in Maine, my skin gets really dry, cracked, and itchy. So I'm a Gold Bond Lotion believer. Unlike ordinary moisturizers, Gold Bond Lotion is medicated, so it soothes my skin and stops the itch.
Gold Bond. More than a moisturizer, it's medicated to heal dry skin.
Value City Furniture, Ridge Road in Greece, and near Marketplace Mall in Henrietta. You just can't do any better.
On this day of national loss, the games we play certainly seem less important, but they do go on. Tonight, the Syracuse Orangemen will host number 2 Pittsburgh at the Carrier Dome. It is a 7 o'clock start in Syracuse. In Big East action this afternoon, an upset at UConn. Boston College, led by Troy Bell's 26 points, knocks off the 14th-ranked Huskies 95-71. Big East board Matt Carroll had 36 for Notre Dame today. West Virginia over Villanova. In the A-10 this afternoon, St. Bonaventure got worked by Temple. Alex Westby led the Owls with 23. The final was 96-77. The Bonnies fall to 10-10. A big women's matchup tonight. Caitlin Howe's number 1 ranked Duke Blue Devils will face number 2 UConn. The Huskies are riding a 58-game win streak. In box lacrosse, the Nighthawks are home against Albany, the team that knocked them out of the playoffs last year. It is a 7:35 start. Last night at the War Memorial, the Amerks rallied from 3 goals down to tie the Houston Arrows. Yaroslav Kristic made it 4-3. Then Rory Fitzpatrick tied the game with just over a minute to play, salvaging the point.
You know, first couple shifts there in the third, I think we really, hemmed them in there and realized that, they were for the taking. So I think that, once that happened, we were able to get some momentum and just went from there.
And the Amerks are at Syracuse tonight. This afternoon, Canadian Olympic star Haley Wickenheiser became the first female to score a goal in a men's pro hockey game that happened in Finland. NFL news today, the Giants and Jets are scrapping the grass field at the Meadowlands. They'll play on field turf next season. It is the artificial surface preferred by NFL players. And in golf today, Tim Herron has taken sole possession of the lead at the Bob Hope Classic. Lumpy shot a 65 to go 29 into par. A 4-shot lead over Jay Haas at last check. Gabe and Janet, that is a look at sports today.
Mark, thanks a lot.
We'll be right back.
Attention, Rochester furniture shoppers! It's been years in the planning, and it's finally here. The grand opening of Raymore & Flanigan Furniture's massive Henrietta Superstore. To celebrate, absolutely everything's on sale at all 5 Rochester area locations. Now every piece of furniture has been reduced at all 5 Raymore & Flanigan Rochester area showrooms, with no deposit, interest, or payments for 1 full year, plus delivery in 3 days or less. Everything's on sale now during Raymore & Flanigan Furniture's grand opening in Henrietta. Going on now.
Courage and tenacity are qualities that drive you to succeed.
It's our pleasure to introduce you to this week's Scholar Athlete, a high school student who has excelled not just on the playing field, but in the classroom as well.
Gene Kobolansky is one of the top wrestlers in Section 5. The Brighton senior was first-team All-League last year. He and his family moved to Brighton 9 years ago from Ukraine, and he's adjusted well. He carries a 3.9 grade average. 10 NBC Scholar Athletes are brought to you by Wendy's and St. John Fisher College.
Strike up the band for this American classic, Meredith Wilson's The Music Man.
76 strongholds and the big parade.
It's the musical that hits a big Broadway chord of approval.
Oh, we got trouble right here in River City. Right here in River City.
Variety hails Susan Stroman's choreography impeccable, even intoxicating.
The M&T Bank Broadway season welcomes The Music Man to Rochester. 8 shows only February 4th through the 9th. Ask about Kids Night on Broadway.
Romance in the Thousand Islands, a tradition that began long, long ago.
Welcome to your Valentine's Fun Time Package at the luxurious River Edge Resort in Alexandria Bay.
Elegance, entertainment, and pampering for you and your special someone.
Candlelight dinners, souvenir champagne, a long stem rose, wine tasting, and gourmet cooking demos. The Spouse I Thought I Knew game, and much more.
Call 1-800-ENJOY-US today for details and to guarantee your reservation at the ultimate romance and relaxation destination in the Thousand Islands.
The magnificent River Edge Resort in Alexandria Bay, New York.
If you see news happen, call the News 10 NBC hotline at 232-1010 or star 10 on your Verizon Wireless phone. Join in, a service brought to you by Verizon Wireless.
And the weather word is?
We'll see plenty of clouds tomorrow, a few flurries in the morning. Temperatures will be once again in the mid-30s. Just watch for a few slick spots if you're traveling tonight.
All right, we'll do that. Thank you.
Josh, thanks. We'll, of course, have continuing coverage of today's space shuttle disaster throughout the evening and tonight.
Coming up tonight at 11, reaction from the local Jewish community dealing with the loss of Israel's first astronaut. Plus, we will hear from local Congresswoman Louise Slaughter. And for details from NASA about today's tragedy, you can log on to our website at 10nbc.com and click on the link.
It's not the first time this has happened, and it won't be the last. Along with the pain that gnaws at your stomach comes the rhetorical question, why? Why are we up there in space to begin with? For the naysayers, a day like this calls for packing up, giving up. For the rest of us, it's perhaps a chance to say once again, thank you. Thank you not only to those like Pam Melroy and Eileen Collins, but to all those unsung heroes who bring their energies and intelligence to advance knowledge. Much like the biomedical researcher looking for a cure for a disease, or the engineer working on a better fire alarm. Astronauts help us all whether we know it or not. The new type of lightweight, durable plastics developed initially for aerospace might have saved your life in a car accident. A new way of growing vegetables might help feed your grandchildren. Research aboard the space station into heart disease and human endurance might change the way your doctor treats you the next time you go in for a checkup. Astronauts risk their lives for all of us, much like soldiers, police officers, and firefighters. Let us never take their work and another space shuttle launch for granted.
For more on this tragedy, just ahead on News 10 NBC, stay tuned.
We thank you for watching this evening. Have a good evening.
Good night.
Good night.